Hello and welcome to Out of State DMing episode 65. I'm your host, lluksblackheart. Thank you for joining me. Yay! We're going to continue, dun dun dun, talking about the spells that sorcerers and wizards can cast. And we'll be starting with 6th level spells. Yay! This we ended last episode with 5th levels, so now we're going to start on 6th. And starting off us strong is the spell Anti-Magic Field. It's not necessarily a huge field because it's only 10 foot, but it negates magical with, pretty much magic within it. That pretty much stops spellcasters from casting spells if they're within the 10 feet, and it stops any and all magical effects that enter it from working. So if like someone's wearing magical armor with magical a magical sword, they enter in that area. It's just now mundane armor and weapon. So it's kind of like an ultimate debuff. Does any magical buffs on them are for the duration of anti-magic field, they're negated. So as long as their duration persists after the anti-magic field goes away, then they'll start working again. But if it expires before the anti-magic field does, then it somewhat doesn't matter. But what it also does, if a magical spell would be cast in the proximity, well, the affected zone would overlap or be centered within inside the anti-magic field, it doesn't work. So if you're within an anti-magic field and someone goes, I fireball you, well, you're the center of it. Because you're in an anti-magic field, it doesn't go off. It's the same thing if they go, well, since you're in the field, I'm going to detonate it outside the field so it overlaps you still. Well, because you're in a magic field, the magical fire of the fireball does not affect you. Because the spell, because magical effects cannot work with inside an anti-magic field. So there's no affecting someone in it. Even if you're like, well, here's a cone of cold. Anti-magic field can't hurt me. So it's really good to make any and all magic users kind of just go, really? Boom. And there's a lot of people that think 10 feet's not big enough, and then there's other people who think that 10 feet is too big. But it's like, it's not the smallest nor the biggest AoE effect you're ever going to come across, but it is definitely one of those effects that goes, I don't care, your magical shenanigans don't work. And right after it, you have Greater Dispel Magic. It works just like normal Dispel Magic, but instead of having a cap of plus 10 on your check, it goes to plus 20. So you have a better chance of removing a magical effect that's in place. So if anti-magic field doesn't work because they're not doing anything within field, you can go, I don't like the fact you have magical armor. Get rid of it. I'm going to prepare it to counterspell your spell. So you go to cast that spell, bam, you can't because I countered it. Or if they think, oh, that big buff spell you just cast on this guy here to make him nigh invulnerable, Greater Spell Magic, it's gone. Then you have another really good, I don't care about your spells, is Globe of Invulnerability. It works just as Lesser Globe of Invulnerability, but it also affects up to 4th level spells. So just like that, it's anything from 4th level or less you don't care about because it's not going to work on you. So that's another good, I don't want to deal with their magical shenanigans. I'm going to not be affected by it. Meaning it has to be someone casting 5th or higher level spells to affect you at that point. So there's the first 3 spells in 6th level are, I don't care about your magical casting abilities because I'm going to nerf it or flat out negate it. Right there. Then we have guards and wards. It's an array of magical effects that affect you. When we get to the spell itself, when we're doing full descriptions, we'll go into great detail about what that spell can and cannot do. But it's one of those spells that I can't remember anyone ever casting it. So off the top of my head, all I can say is it gives you protections. But that's how much that spell I've personally seen being used is 0. So I can't really say it's good or not. Repulsion is another spell that seems good because creatures can't approach you, but it's one of the spells I've also never seen anyone cast. Because if memory serves, it's like anything that cannot resist the repulsion can't get close enough to you. And that's anything and everything that can't auto bypass it. So your healer can't run up and heal you. Any buff spells that require them to touch you, they can't touch you with it because they need to run up and touch you. So it doesn't just stop bad guys from getting to you, it stops other people from getting to you. So it's one of the spells that people just don't take because they don't see the appeal of not being hit by monsters when it comes to the appeal of I need healing, I need buffs. If this is active, they can't buff me and they can't even be around me, so I'm going to be by myself. So it really gets into people seeing the con and letting it outweigh the pros. Here's one that I've rarely seen used. I've mainly only seen it used by monsters that have it, and it's Acid Fog. It's pretty much a fog that deals acid damage. It's pretty straightforward. If you're in it, you're taking acid damage. If you're not in it, you're not taking acid damage. It is a decent AoE spell. You can cast, as far as I can remember, you can cast it indoors, outdoors, and it just eats away at everything in the infected area. So it's a good way to make bad guys run, or make your teammates wish that they had acid resistance, because anything and everything that enters it that's capable of taking damage takes damage. So same Team Farva with that spell. I would say it's not as bad as Fireball when it comes to that, because it doesn't have the same damage output, but I'll probably say it's worse because it has a duration to it. So unlike a Fireball that's hit it and quit it, this is a throw it down and it stays active for a while. Next, we do have Planar Binding, which works just like the lesser Planar Binding, but it works on up to an 12th hit die creature. So as long, just like I said with that spell, if memory serves, as long as certain criteria is met, you can have a extra planar creature do something for you. More details coming soon. Dun dun dun. Then we have Summon Monster 6, which works just like every other summon monster, but more powerful versions. Next we got probably one of the good wall spells, Wall of Iron, because you literally get a wall that for every 4 levels you possess, it has more hit points. So it's harder to get through that than the Wall of Stone. It is a permanent structure. It can be toppled upon foes. Not when you summon it, you can't summon on foes, but once you summon it, it can be knocked over to land on foes. So you could use it to, depending on how the DM wants to work it, either insta-kill foes because several 100 pounds of iron being slammed on top of you, or how everyone wants to work it, you can still end up really messing things up. But at minimum, it's an iron wall. Meaning, for utility purposes, it can be used to create structures, barriers, and or if you're willing to finagle a few things, you can technically go, hey, who wants a bunch of iron? Bam. Tear apart this iron wall. Here's X amount of iron. So it's kind of like giving, forcing an Iron Age upon an area that's, like, let's say, like the Stone Age. Or something like that. But still, a good spell. The next one is one that I've honestly never seen anyone use. Analyze Dwemer. It reveals magic aspects of subject. It's pretty much if an entity has magical abilities and stuff like that, it's supposed to reveal them. Kind of like identify object. Well, not identify object. Identify, but instead of items, it's people. The exact details are listed under the spell itself there, but it's also a spell that no one ever uses because they either come to their own conclusions on magical aspects of an entity, claim they already know it because they've encountered entities like that before, or they don't care enough to do it. It's like, is it doing any of this stuff here? No, then I don't care. The next spell, I do have a love-hate relationship with, mainly because a lot of people don't fully understand how it works, and it's legend lore. In the subtext there, it lets you learn tales about a person, place, or a thing. A lot of people go, I want to when I cast legend lore on this guy here. It's like, well, is there any tales about him? Any myths? Any legends? If the answer is no, no. Because it only works if there's tales, stories, myths, legends. If they don't have any, boom. It's like the difference between Random Warrior number 5 and Strahd. If you legend lore Strahd, you'll learn that he's a very powerful vampire. He is considered the main bad guy in the Land of Mist. He's really freaking old, really freaking powerful. He has all sorts of shenanigans associated with him. But Random Warrior number 5, well, there's no tales about that guy. He's just a random warrior. There's nothing special about him. There's no tales, no myths, no legends. So you're not getting anything. A lot, because there is myths, there is legends, there's tales, there's stories about Strahd. While they're true or not, he has them. This random person over here, he's random. He doesn't have a name. That should tell you a lot. There's nothing to learn about him. And there's a lot of people who have done that. Who have like, what do you mean I legend lured him? Well, there's no legends about him. They've also done it to, what about this place here? It's an old hunting lodge. Well, there must be a legend about it. Legend lore. It's an old hunting lodge. There's no special events, no special people, no special things connected to this place. All that's known about it, all that's talked about is it's an old hunting lodge. People go there and use it as a base of operation to hunt. That's all you're getting. Not like the city of Greyhawk, which has a rich history of shenanigans and BS to a point that some people say, some sales will say it's a magnificent, wonderful place to live. Other people go, it's a den of mistrust, intrigue, and stupidity. You get all sorts of stuff there because that place has existed long enough, has a lot of stuff associated happen with it, involving heroes and world-important events, that it has myths, it has legends, it has stories, it has tales. Random hunting lodge. I've had players look at me and go, on this ring of protection we got from this lich, I legend lore it to hear its tales. It's like, it's a random ring that was worn by a lich. That's it. There's no mythic tales about it. It's a +2 ring of protection. While looking at the party member who literally has a named ring and not legend loring that, it's like, okay, it lets him be friends with animals because animals automatically view him as a friend regardless of what the animal is. So as long as he doesn't attack it or do something stupid, all these animals are going to go, friend? And it's a named ring. Nope, we're not going to legend lore that. If they would learn that it's one of 3 rings. It's owned by, technically its owner is a very powerful individual. I can't remember his name right now because it's his set of 3 rings. He made the rings. The rings are old, just like him. And the main thing is to let him have control and better manipulate nature-based shenanigans. While also revealing that as long as the rings are being worn, he knows where the rings are and who's wearing them. But let's not do that. Let's double down on this random ring we got from that lich. So yeah, that spell does have it does have uses. Don't get me wrong, it does have uses. But I've seen it more oftenly used or not on things that literally it won't do anything on other than the lich got it 5 years ago when he bought it from this store here. That's the legend of the ring. A lich bought it and wore it, and it couldn't save him from the party. Not, here's this ring here. You know it has a name. You know it's supposed to be important. It has a really, really powerful effect on it, but we're not going to do it on that. It's like, so it's a spell that does get misused a lot. But not going to be a dead horse anymore. The next spell is True Seeing. I do like this spell, even though some people don't. It's not a spell that people don't really fully understand it. It's True Seeing. It lets you see all things as they really are. Which what it means is if there's some sort of magical, supernatural effect altering something's appearance, for let's say I had a disguise, the spell disguise self, alternate form, polymorph, baleful polymorph, glimmer. You can look at the entity or object and go, hey, that's an illusionary wall. People go, how can you tell? It's like, well, True Seeing. I see that that alley as an actual alleyway. You can still go, there's a fake wall there, but you automatically can see through and go, there's no real wall there because it's fake. It's not real. It doesn't actually exist. I'm seeing it as it's supposed to be. They'll also look at people and go, I can see through your hat of disguise. I can see through your alternate self. That person here that's been traveling with us is really a red dragon using this alter form ability to be a person, so I can see you for a dragon you are, you cheeky butt monkey. Yay. But they automatically assume it works on everything that alters appearance. There is a few things that it doesn't see through. For instance, normal cosmetics, as in a disguise kit. True Seeing does not see through a disguise kit because it's not a magical thing. So therefore, the magic of True Seeing doesn't counter that because there's no magic to see through. There's no magic to puncture through. So if someone's using this disguise kit to dye their hair a different color, make it longer with extensions, make their nose look narrower and longer, give themselves some messed up teeth. There's like minor things here. A dude trying to look like a lady. You can do that with a disguise kit, And True Seeing doesn't see through that because there's no magic, there's no glamourine taking effect, there's no illusion. So Disguise Kit bypasses it. Do a lot of DMs and players utilize that? No, because it's DM's prerogative. If DM wants it to do that way, well, guess what? It's a DM. He can wave his hand and your character has a heart attack for all he's concerned. If he wants it to work like that, he can. But it's mainly players that are problematic with this because they assume that True Seeing sees through the Disguise kit, so they don't use it. Or they simply don't believe that True Seeing is as broken as it is. Because, like, I'm using this alter form ability so you don't know that I'm really me because I'm a cat. It's like, I can acknowledge you're in a cat form, but I know you're a person because True Seeing lets me see what your true self is. So your magical effect, But it is one of the spells that have caused arguments in the past. Especially if a bad guy has it. The next spell is a spell that, because players occasionally end up running into something that has this work on them, they think it's perfectly okay to use it on anything and everything, and it's Geese/Quest. It's as lesser geese, plus it affects any creature, so it's not as limited. And it's pretty much, hey, I want you to go do this. Each day you're not actually pushing forwards accomplishing that. You take penalties, dun dun dun, until completion. And a lot of players go, well, it was used on us. It's like, yeah, it was used on you guys because you guys, A, are refusing to actually go defeat the bad guy. B, the person using it on you has loose morals. And C, that guy with loose morals really wants this done sooner rather than later. You guys are supposed to be the heroes, and no, it's not a good thing to have that random farmer join you on your quest against his will, despite the fact he's just a random farmer, and you're supposed to be the hero. No, that's not a good thing you're doing. You're losing good points because, again, random farmer can't help you on your quest because he's a random farmer. He's not a retired soldier or secretly some hero that's trying to hide amongst the people. No, he's just a normal farmer trying to farm that you're now using the quest spell to get him to join you. Yeah, he's not going to last very long, and you're going to get him killed. Thank you for being loose-moral bad guys, because that's worse than you, the hero, being geezed to actually be the hero. It's level of shenanigans. The next spell is Greater Heroism. It works just like Heroism, but better. That it's +4 on attack rolls, saving throws, skill checks, and makes you immune to fear, and gives you temporary hit points. So it does a lot. Because if anyone says, oh, a +4 is not that bad, like I'll say it before and I'll say it again, any bonus that's positive is a good bonus. A +4 is an excellent bonus, especially when it's attack rolls and saving throws and skill checks. Because for the duration of the spell, you're hitting more often, you're passing your saves more often, you're better at all your skill checks you make, not just one, but all of them. On top of being immune to fear and getting temporary hit points, if that doesn't make you happy, I don't know what will. Then we have Mass Suggestion, just like Suggestion, but affects multiple creatures. So you can get more people to do an action. So that's generally can be helpful. Symbol of Persuasion. Triggered rune charms nearby creatures. So just like with a lot of the other charm effects, it can make a bunch of hostile creatures go from I'm going to get you to I'm going to help you because now we're friends because charm. It is one that I actually can't remember last time anyone's used it because a lot of people don't want to just slap something on somewhere and wait and see what happens. So, eh. Then we have Big B's Forceful Hand. This one is probably one of the better spectral hand-like abilities, spells, because it has a hand that pushes creatures away. It doesn't, oh, I'm just going to do a bunch ton of damage, or I'm going to grab and fling. No, it's, I want that creature to be farther away from me. Big B's Forceful Hand. Back up. It's one of those 6-foot rule. 6-foot distance, quarantine distance. Let's keep that distance up. So that's real good at that. Or you could use it to push something off an edge or on top of a building or out a window. There's that too. Then we have another really good effective combat spell, Chain Lightning. It's a die 6 per level with 1 secondary bolt per level. Each does half damage. Which pretty much means the more bolts you do, the less damage it does, because it's boom. Let's say you're level 10, it says okay, it does 10 die 6 to this guy, but then 5 to that guy, and so on until well, I mean, technically it's supposed to be 5 for each additional second one. Sorry, people being nosy. But it's still a good trigger perspective. I'm going to hit you with all this damage, and then all these friends here are going to take even more damage. So it's still a really good spell. Contingency. Sets trigger condition for another contingency for another spell. So it's pretty much you cast this spell with another spell, and once the set trigger condition is met, that spell goes off. So you can do a delay chain lightning or a contingency true seeing spell or something like that, or have it set so if conditions are met, a healing spell goes off. If I reach 0 hit points, this contingency triggers this massive healing spell. Or you can have it set to if I'm put down to X amount of hit points, or if I receive X amount of damage, or some other condition that you decide to set, it triggers teleportation. Dun dun dun. So it's a free get out of jail free card. Next we have Odaluk's Freezing Sphere. It freezes water or deals cold damage. So it's pretty much a sphere that's around affecting the combat field. So it can be good, but you have to remember to actually have it activate and do what it's supposed to do on your turn. Otherwise, it just sits there, being menacing. Sphere of Cold. Ooh. Then we have Mislead. It turns you invisible and creates illusionary double. That's a really good, I don't want to get affected by combat. So you're going to be invisible, and then pretty much by you is going to be pretty much you. So whenever you do something, it looks like illusionary double's doing it. So a lot of the bad guys and or allies have no idea that you're invisible or that you've cast a spell. If they go to do anything to you, they would target your double instead of you. So you can feel safe that I'm protected as long as nothing knows that I'm right here and invisible. So that's pretty good to get out of sticky situations. Then there's Permanent Image. Includes sight, sound, and smell. So it's a really, really good illusion spell that can make any and everything think that whatever that thing is, they can hear it, They can hear it. They can smell it. Did I say hear twice? Yeah, they can see, hear, and smell whatever it is. So if you want to make it look like a big scary ogre, it's going to be marching through a lot of things and go, oh my god, it's an ogre. Let's not fight the ogre. Or like a troll or maybe some sort of bog monster. Who knows? Let your imagination go wild. Then we have programmed image as major image plus triggered by event, which pretty much means you can set this up, and once a certain event happens, like a bad guy entering a room or another player entering a room, or just something happens that falls under the trigger, the image goes off. Like a building collapsing or a fire starting out where you're around and spreading. Let your imagination go wild. As long as the DM approves it, well, then the DM approves it. The next spell, Shadow Walk. This is a good and a bad spell. It's good because it lets you step into the shadows to travel rapidly. I say good and bad because if with this, I may be thinking of a different shadow spell. But it is still good because it means you can get to locations a lot quicker, a lot easier, and a lot generally safer because, well, you're traveling through shadows and not just out in the open. Can't get harmed if no one knows where you're at, right? Veil changes appearance of group of creatures. So it's pretty much a glamour effect that you can hit your entire group to make your entire group not look like what they are. So if you're being chased by a group of orcs and you know what orcs are, what they generally look like, and stuff like that, you can use a veil to make the party appear to be of those, like another group of those orcs also looking for the bad guys. So as long as no of those orcs show up to interact with you from a distance, it looks like you're just friendly forces doing the same thing they are. So it can be good. Here's a spell that can get you in trouble. Circle of Death. It kills 1 die for a level hit die worth of creatures. This, if memory serves, is considered an evil spell, so right there it can screw with your alignment. And a lot of times where I've seen it cast, there's always casualties. It's rarely have I seen it cast in a circumstance where only bad guys affect. Because it's one of those same team Farva, and it pretty much affects the closest creatures to where the circle's going off at. And if you roll high enough, yeah, you can affect a lot of creatures, but you can also end up affecting allies. So like the barbarian and the fighter run up and start holding back the line, and you go Circle of Death. If you roll high enough, and if are high enough level, it's like, yeah, you just killed a bunch of those bad guys. But there's a high chance that either the barbarian or the fighter also drops dead because you rolled high enough to affect them. Like, for instance, one of the big times I've seen the spell cast, the sorcerer not only used a greater wand of Maximize, but he also had the Empower spell Empower Metamagic Feat slapped onto it, so it not only was doing 40 hit dice worth of them because he was level 10. No, he's higher level than that. Well, I'm just going to, for example, I'm going to use level 10 because he was higher level than that, but I'm going to use that as an example. Because that's 4 die, I mean, that's 40, that's 10d4, but it's maximized, so it was 40, but it also empowered it, so it was 60, so 60 hit dice worth of creature died. Well, he ended up killing 2 party members because they fell within that 60 hit die, and what they were fighting was just a group of single hit die orcs. So yeah, he killed pretty much all the orcs. But because of the number of hit dice that are affected versus how much that was there, he killed several party members. And he went, it was, I didn't know it did that. It's like, it affects everything within inside that affected zone. Well, it's an ally or an enemy. It's not your enemies, only your enemies suffer. It's, hey, look, everything within this affected zone is getting hit with a spell. So if you use the right meta magic feats and or just roll really good, you can wipe the enemy, but also allies. There's even one circumstance where a person hit it, and the spell works on you too. So if you're within inside the effective zone, well, unless my memory's wrong. But when we cover the spell itself, I'll be able to correct that. So amendments in the future. But if memory serves, it does affect you too. So if you choose the wrong spot, you can end up killing yourself. So it's a watch where you use it, because you can, technically it does count as pretty much attack nuke, because it's for all those who may concerned die. Next spell is create undead. You can create ghouls, ghast, mummies, or morgues with it. So pretty powerful undead. I wouldn't say top-notch undead, but these are like medium-stage undead. So better than zombies and skeletons, because ghouls, ghast, mummies, or morgues are not something you want to miss. My brain doesn't want to work. You don't want to underestimate them, because they can be potent undead in themselves. But when a evil caster decides that I don't want simple weak undead, I want some actual undead with some actual intelligence and cunning, well, create undead. Voila, they can do it. The next spell, Eye Bite. Target becomes panic, sickened, and can become comatose. So it's literally a I want to take you out of commission. So hopefully this spell does the trick. That and the whole comatose things, because pretty much that target's out of commission, because, well, if they're unconscious on the ground, they can't do anything. The next spell is Symbol of Fear. Ooh. Just like the rest of the symbols, once it's triggered, the creatures in the affected zone become panicked. So it can be used to frighten things. But just like with the rest of the symbol spells, a lot of people don't want to wait around to see if it works or not. They just slap it and hope it works. The next spell is a spell that I've had to just tell people to take, because they don't see it as very good until I point out it's really good. And it's called Undeath to Death, where you destroy a die 4 per level hit dice of undead. So it's kind of like Circle of Death, but it only affects undead creatures. And it does a maximum of 20 die 4. So that's up to 80 somewhere between 20 to 80 hit dice of undead being boned over at 20th level. That's not counting the maximize spell that automatically puts it up, or the empowered, which increases it by 50%. So if you're the right level, you can easily affect 120 hit dice worth of undead with this spell. That's a lot of undead. That's like multiple vampires. That's multiple liches. That's pretty much an army's worth of skeletons and or zombies you're just getting rid of. So being able to wave your hand and seeing anything from the weakest to the strongest undead go, well, this sucks. If anyone says that's not a good spell, slap them. Because even if you're not level 20, this is a 6th level spell, so you're probably going to be like an 11th level sorcerer, maybe a 12th level wizard, so it's going to go with 12. So 12 die 4 worth of undead, that's a minimum 12 hit dice worth. That's 12 zombies and or 12 skeletons gone. That's a vampire with a few hit dice to spare. If you're going for like the elite vampire, that gets rid of an elite vampire, or like 2 normal vampires. That's definitely a lich being gone. Does lich, I think, like 11 hit die creatures. Well, they're like 7 or 11, one of those two. So it's like right there, you can just be gone lich with it. If you, and that's minimum. If you roll, if because you're rolling, the average of that would, brain wanting to do math. It's gonna be probably around 30 hit dice worth of undead being destroyed. That's several liches. Like with the up to of like 48 possibly being destroyed, that's definitely a group of liches. So that's a lot of undead being just destroyed. So unless the campaign is light to no undead, that's the only time I'm like, not a good spell to take, because like, what are the odds of you running into an undead? Because it's low to nil. So taking a spell like this can be considered a waste because the chances of you using it aren't going to be there. But if you're in a campaign where undead are expected to go against, there's a lot of DMs do like to just throw a lot of undead into campaigns. You wouldn't believe how many campaigns had undead in them, even if it's not like, oh, this big guy here, he's trying to rally giants to fight and conquer the world. Well, that's great and all, but in the 7th month since this campaign started, we fought in 3 giants, but we've also fought in several liches, multiple vampires, and a lot of skeletons and zombies. I get trying to get XP. We'll get the party to XP so they can do stuff. But this appears to be more of an undead-focused campaign, because a lot of stuff is focused around undead and not giants, because they're not even undead giants. Like, do you know how frightening a vampiric giant would be? Depending on the giant, a giant can be moderately challenging to, dear God, why are we fighting this? Make it vampiric? Oh God. Can we not? A zombie giant or a skeletal giant, that's going to beat the crap out of the party. So on death, the death spell would definitely work. I'm getting off topic. Like, hard. I'm sorry. No, but somewhat sane on point. The amount of campaigns that weren't supposed to be undead heavy that ended up being undead heavy is a lot. When I'm running campaigns that aren't supposed to be around undead, I try to minimize the undead, because like, if it's randomly rolled, it's randomly rolled. But I'm not gonna make it persistent enough for you to need a spell like this. But if there's undead in the world and you've encountered them more than once due to random rolls or the DM being a little bit more precise with it, then take the spell. Even if you end up never using it, you may go, it's pretty useless. I may eventually swap it out for another spell. But having it on the back burner just in case is still really good, because it's still a really good spell. The next couple spells are the mass, some more mass spells. Mass Bear's Endurance, Mass Bull Strength, and Mass Cat's Grace. They work just like the normal versions, but they affect multiple people. So, because like you're going to be at least like level 12 when you're casting the spell, you infect up to 12 creatures with it. We even have Eagle Splendor and Fox's Cunning. So like, you can end up getting all the mass spells. And just like I said before, with other other spellcasters that can get this, having the mass version of a spell is always going to be better than having the non-mass version, because the non-mass version you have to prep it multiple times in order to affect multiple people. The mass version is, well, for instance, being level 12 casting this here, well, you only need to prep Bear's Endurance once because it's mass Bear's Endurance, and you can affect up to 12 people with it. So you take one turn, affect the entire party, including yourself. Everyone gets that +4 to con, and you move on. If you don't, you have to prep it for every person you're trying to equip it to, which could hog all of your spells of that level, mixed with the fact that that's at least one turn per casting of the spell. So you're taking more time casting more spells than a single mass version. And just like I said before, the amount of people that go, I don't care about taking the mass version, I'd rather take this version, is why? Don't hurt yourself. Don't hinder yourself. If you have the normal version already, then you get the option of taking the mass version. Take the mass version and then do your best to replace the normal version. Because there is a method for sorcerers to get rid of a spell to learn a spell, when to pretty much replace that spell. And wizards, well, you just don't have to prep it anymore. Because unlike a sorcerer who has a set limit of what they can memorize, a wizard technically is your spellbook full, yes or no? Do you need more spellbooks, yes or no? Do you have Bacchus' Blessed Book, which has unlimited space for your wizard spells? They're more lenient with it. So you wizards out there, go for the bigger version, because it lets you be a lot more effective a lot quicker. Because again, a normal party 4, that's 4 castings of the normal version, and that's 4 rounds versus 1 casting and 1 round. I understand wanting bigger numbers is an inherent thing, and a lesser number seems bad. But this lesser number affects more targets with a single casting, so the effectiveness is far better, because again, 4 castings, 4 targets, that's it. 1 casting, your level is your amount of targets. So again, level 12 targets. In order to match that, you need to prep the normal version 12 times just to match it. Can you cast that spell of that level 12 times? Do you have other spells you want to cast? Go with the mass. This mass is better. But moving on, so I'm not beating another horse. There's Control Water, which can raise or lower bodies of water. It doesn't get rid of the water, it just technically lowers it. So if a river is, if the width of a river is short enough, you could do the whole parting of the seas thing. If it's not, you might have to do a second casting of the spell, but you can still go, hey, look, we don't have to worry about drowning because this amount of water is being lowered. So, yay. If you're out at sea, you can technically create a whirlpool with it. So that can be used to hinder, slow down, or trap a boat trying to catch up to you, or just piss off a sea monster. So that's always good. Then we have another great spell, Disintegrate. It makes one creature or object vanish. There's more to it than that, but it is a highly destructive spell that pretty much goes, oh, I'm going to get rid of you, to the point where unless you're using like a wish, you're not coming back from this because I'm destroying you. So it can be really good on walls, doors, people, creatures, objects. Like someone has a big fancy suit of armor, and that's the reason why a lot of things not working on them. It's like, well, let's see if this works on the armor. Disintegrate. Oh, I just got rid of that guy's armor. Now we can defeat him because his armor's no more. Yay. It's just a really, really great spell. There's, like I said, Mass equals Splendor. Flesh to Stone. This is a good one because it turns subject into a statue. So this is the experience the effect that Medusa uses. Like you stare into her eyes, she uses her petrifying gaze. You're stoned. It's pretty much that, but instead of having to be like a gaze attack, it's a I cast a spell. Now you're a statue. It's a great way to imprison things. It is definitely a one shot. Just if they fail this saving throw, they're stoned. Right then there. Can't really fight you if they're a statue. So it makes it easier for someone to go up with a mace or some sort of hammer and just break it because, hey, you're a statue now. Yay. So it's real good on that. Here's another good spell, but a lot of people... Yeah, I can't remember the last time someone used this. Mordecaiden's Lucuperation. Probably mispronouncing this word. But it's wizard only. So, sorry, sorcerers. Recall spell of 5th level or lower. So it's pretty much if you cast a spell of, like I said 5th level or lower, or that you want to cast again, you cast this spell, and now you get to recast it. So if you wanted to recast a fireball, or a wall of stone, you could, because now you can recall that spell, so you pretty much are swapping a 6th level spell slot for a 5th level spell slot or lower. But it's one of those spells that people, they rather spend a 6th level spell on something else, not something that just lets them recast another spell. But to each their own. Then we have Move Earth. Digs trenches and builds hills. This only works on dirt. It does not get rid of grass. It does not get rid of rocks. It does not get rid of creatures. You cannot use it to bury or move a creature unless it's height-wise. Because you can make a hill form and a creature, the hill where the creature is will just go up, or if you want a hill to disappear, it will go down. At a safe speed, of course, because it's not a damaging effect, so you can't use it to have the earth open up and swallow someone whole. You can technically use it to form pits that a person or creature is now at the bottom of and has to now get out. So it's like, haha, boom. You could use it because, again, dig trenches right there and that. Use it to put a gap between you and an approaching enemy or enemies, so that way they have to either hopefully leap over it or go around it. Because unless they can fly or have really good jumping abilities, they're most likely going to have to go around it. Otherwise, it's an impediment. If it's shallow enough, they could crawl into it and then crawl out of it instead of going around. But that still takes them time. So you can buy more. At minimum, you can buy time. At maximum, you could create an obstacle that they have to go around. So that can be a really good utility spell to get away from something. Or you could use it to stop something from getting away from you. Because if they can't go around if they have to go around the obstacle, well, they have to go around the obstacle. So if you do it correctly, they're trapped unless they're willing to go down into a trench or some sort of ravine thing you just created. Because the limitations are under the spell itself. There's Mass Owl's Wisdom, which works just like the rest. Not gonna rehash that subject. Here's another good one that, despite events, I've had to force people to take this to undo shenanigans. Stone to flesh. It restores petrified creatures. So if a creature has been hit with the flesh to stone effect, or bit by a cockatrix, or been gazed by a Medusa, stone to flesh is the counter of it. It's a, oh, I don't want you to be a statue anymore. Come back to life. It is also the spell used to undo the statues if you're trying to capture people. Like if you're trying to be top tier bounty hunters and you don't want to kill the person, but you want to boom, you can turn them into stone, get them where they're going, go, here he is. Bam, now he's back to flesh. So it's a great reversal to it, but you wouldn't believe how many campaigns where it's like, okay, you guys randomly ran into a cockatrix. Yay, you guys decided to fight it. Yay, several of you are now statues because you got horrible on the die rolls. Oh, did you decide not to take the spell to counteract this thing here? Because multiple creatures use stone effects. Multiple entities have access to the spells and spell-like effects that turn things to statues. You don't want that counter? Suffer the consequences. This is one of those, you may never use it, but it's better to have it spells. It's kind of like the concept of, I'd rather have it and not use it than, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Because you never know when exactly you're going to need it, but it's better just to have it. Now, the last spell we're going to cover today, and it's also the last 6th level spell, is Tensor's Transformation. I personally love this spell because it turns the wizard or sorcerer into an actual combatant because you gain combat bonuses. This is the, I don't want to be the weak person in the background casting the spells. I want to run up and beat the crap out of this bad guy. Tensor's Transformation. When we get to the actual details of the spell itself, its limitations and its bonuses will be revealed. But at the moment, it's really, really good to make that the mage of the party go from, I don't feel that useful because my spells aren't really working on it. I didn't really take any of those spells or these spells, to go, wait, I have this spell. I cast it. Now I can run up and fight with you guys. Does memory serves, it lets you hit easier. You don't suffer as many penalties when using weapons. You get more hit points. Because, again, you get combat bonuses. So it turns you from a non-combatant in the back into I'm going to go stand beside the fighter and help him beat the crap out of this bad guy. So, right there, good spell, potent spell, powerful spell. The few times I've seen people actually use it after me going, you should probably take this spell, they've gone, thank you, that was awesome. I actually felt useful. I actually got something done. So for all those out there, that's a good spell to take, especially if you don't trust or feel confident in your actual tanks. So if the fighters, barbarians, paladins aren't pulling their weight, you can one-up them by going, I am now the fighter. But that's being said, this episode will be called to an end. So thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. And I will see you next week for more out-of-state DMing. And hopefully my co-host will be available. So I won't be talking to myself. But thank you again.